Hey everyone, it's Connor again, and I just want to say that before the video starts, this is going to be a personal video for me. Um, you'll see throughout the video, but if I ever get choked up or sound a little emotional, just know it's because this is a very personal showcase for me, and I hope you guys understand. With that being said, thank you for understanding, and on to the showcase. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Connor and welcome to the next installment of Meet the Fleet Season 2. And today is a very special character because we are focusing on Ozzie. Ozzie is a very special custom for me. The reason being, if you followed my Twitter at the beginning of February, about to the late month of February, you would know that I had a pet bearded dragon named Ozzie. And he meant the absolute world to me. He was such a nice guy, such a chill pet. Very, very nice. He was essentially like a scale covered dog, essentially, is what it comes down to. He was the sweetest lizard I could have asked for. He passed away towards the end of February. I was already having a pretty rough week. I wasn't really having the best week, and it was only Tuesday. Sunday, he was fine. Monday, he was a bit sluggish, but Tuesday morning, I found him in the dead center of his tank, if you want to call it that. It's terrarium, whatever, I don't know. I found him in the center of it on the sand, and I believe I went to go feed him or give him water or something like that, or just to check up on him, and he wasn't moving. So, I told my mom about it, and when I went to work, I got screwed over by management or whatever, wasn't told about a gas leak, and I had to come right back home. And that was when we figured out that he had actually passed away. You know, I'm a big fan of reptiles and, just animals in general. So, despite him not being with us for long, I still felt like he was part of our family forever. He was just awesome. After he died, I wanted to commemorate him in some sort of way. And thanks to a new friend of mine, shout out to Slow Coach Studios for giving me the idea of making a Garrett. And that is what we have here. I turned Ozzie into 6841. Now, he might look familiar because I believe this is also the same engine that Wild Nor'Wester used for Rowan. If not the exact same, with some few aesthetic changes. But yeah, he was nearly entirely scratch built, save for the two chassis and the smoke box. So yeah, sorry about the long-winded history or my rambling on. I just wanted to give some context as to where I'm coming from with this. So now that that's over, let's get into the details. So in the case of mini Garretts, they have three components. So we will take a look at them individually. So let's start with the main body, or the two tenders actually. We'll start with them. So what I did was I took, I believe, these were, one of them was a this one was a 60th anniversary Henry tender, and this one was, I believe, just a Henry tender. Took the chassis off, wasn't using them, and I used thin cardboard to build them up. Wrapped in masking tape, of course. You know my thing. But before I did that, I actually used balsa wood to make the, if you want to call it, a running board. And then the buffer beam was added later on towards the end of painting, or the end of building, actually. Same thing with this, but we'll get into that later. Actually, we'll get into both of these sections later, so we'll just set them here for now. Very, very proud with how it turned out. Some sections, I mean, like, if you look at it from this angle, you can clearly see, like, a bit of a angle, at least, like, going right here. And, like, right here is, like, is kind of bad, because it's not even. But honestly, I don't really care, because I am very, very proud with how it turned out. I don't remember the exact color I used for painting. I believe it might have just been like a raw sienna or a burnt sienna color. But then I used a hunter green, I believe, or some kind of dark green for the lining. It might have just been hunter green, and put it around. And, you know, this was actually made from, this post here was actually made from a wooden, kind of like a wooden kebab skewer, like one of those thicker toothpick kind of things. And, you know, and there is one problem I have with the model, and if you hold the wheels, you can hear it. As you know, some of my scratch build models deal with air dry clay, especially like Aries here. Since he's nearly entirely scratch built, he has air dry clay in him. The cab, the tender, boiler, firebox, everything. And same thing goes for Harper. You know, here's just his body. His smoke box is over on my work desk, being used as a reference for another model. But he is nearly entirely scratch built. His cab, firebox, and boiler have clay. The only problem with the air dry clay is that it shrinks when it's drying. And that's what happened. I didn't put enough to have it, you know, stay perfect in there. Same thing goes for the other one, though it's not as bad. But I'm just very, very proud of it. The face of Ozzie comes from, again, person who does all my faces. You know, obviously, you know, my Sona. Who do I have on hand? You know, Rowan. Gavin, etc. All my faces are done by them. Don't remember. I need to give Gavin a coat of Mod Podge, so I'll have to remind myself to do that later. But yeah, all my faces are done by them. If not, if I don't, any other faces are provided by me with, you know, the plastic faces, like with the newly shown off Jasper. But yeah, very proud with the front. So let's move on to the second tender. And this one was a bit different to do. I essentially did the same measurements as this one. This one's a little more heavy because there's more clay in here. They're about the same size. The only difference was that I had to leave enough room for the toolbox on the back. And with my scratchbuilt models, I tend to go for a good amount of accuracy. And the toolbox was something I couldn't miss. There was no way I was going to miss the toolbox. And especially this section right here. I thought it was on both sides, but doing closer examination of 6841, there's not that many good angle like pics of 6841, but there were just enough to where I knew what was going on with the model. But yeah, this is like the only section that this is on. And then like I said, everything else is simple. Wooden dowel here. The toolbox wasn't actually made from cardboard and clay. It was actually made from balsa wood. It was actually made from stacking 2 different sized pieces of balsa wood. Sorry, I'm trying to look into my camera to see if this is focusing. Okay, we're good. I took a smaller piece or a bigger piece, glued to a smaller piece, glued them together, and then actually wrapped them in masking tape to get that angled look. And I think it honestly works pretty freaking well, like pretty fucking well. And I have to swear, I'm sorry, because I had a live stream get age restricted somehow. Literally, the one I did yesterday got fucking age restricted. And also, the showcase with Aries was marked as made for kids, even though I dropped the F-bomb at least 2 or 3 times and said a bunch of other swear words in the video. But, that's totally cool, YouTube. Anyway, so did the fucking toolbox, and then, yeah, same story with the other tenders, but, we'll save the special bit for last. Finally, we have the main body. Now, when deciding to make this, my biggest challenge was deciding whether or not to put the face on the front of the first tender or on the smoke box. I tried a few different things out. Obviously, I tried to put face on the smoke box first, and I really liked it. But the more I thought about it, I want Ozzie's face to be seen. And this is a special model and it needs special treatment. And when it comes down to it, if I want Ozzie to be seen, or mainly his face, it's going to have to be on the front. So that's what I did. I just found a spare CGI face. I believe I only had like 1 or 2 of them that I put on Ozzie. And, cut it out, put it on. And here we are now. But anyways, so the body here. Entirely scratch built except for the smoke box, obviously. But doesn't stop it from getting modifications. I started with the boiler. I started out with the running board as usual. The angled cuts here. Here, let me take this off because it's only attached by putty right now. The angles right here, they weren't originally a part of Ozzie. But in order for, Ozzie to be able to go around curves, that had to happen. At least give it enough clearance to do so. Then the boiler came next, then the cab came next, and the firebox came next. All made out of cardboard with clay on the inside. Here's another angle at it. Here's the bottom. Now, when making this model, I needed to, one of the main priorities was finding out how I can make this turn on curves. and I just took a screwdriver and marked these two areas, and I wanted to make sure that I was cutting the holes, or cutting the pegs and putting the holes in the right area, because if not, then it just wouldn't work. And when I put this under here, onto here, it left just enough clearance for the smoke box to be put on there. And the smoke box was a Gordon smoke box, actually. Originally, I was going to use something like, excuse me. If you look at Miles here, who needs updated still, got to finish his new tender. His smoke deflector is not looking too good. Excuse me. I was originally going to use a smoke box like a CGI James size smoke box. But after realizing that it's only a little bit bigger than a standard James one, or a standard Edward one, you know what I'm saying? Just wouldn't work. So I figured, just use a Gordon one, it'll be fine. And it turned out beautifully. I added a round piece of cardboard to make the smoke box door, which I honestly don't know why I painted the pegs black. I guess if they were to ever be seen, then it would make sense. But since they're both being covered up, it doesn't make sense really. But other details here: the dome is made out of air dry clay, which was pretty easy to do. The whistles and safety valves, whistle and safety valves are made from styrene, as usual. The thinner stuff, as opposed to the safety valve here on, or the whistler safety valve here on Aries. I haven't looked at a picture of the Dean Goods in a minute, so I'm not too sure if it's a safety valve or a whistle or not. And then there was a little something I wanted to get, because it seemed kind of iconic. If you look at a photo of 6841, especially from the side, there is something in front of the dome, a pipe, essentially, going all the way around the boiler next to a boiler band. And it's this little thing right here. Now, if you're any familiar with enterprising engines, maybe Thomas Winrelli remakes, or any kind of... A lot of modern users use it, and that is fishing line. I know a lot of other people use it, like older users or whatever, but I've seen a lot of more modern users use it. Yeah, I just took fishing line and glued it around, and then everything was ready to be painted. And I know the lining isn't essentially my best lining, but I'm perfectly content with it. I think Ozzie is one of the greatest models I think I've ever made. And something special, as you can see on the bottom of the back tender, is I actually put a name under him. So Ozzie and BBS 24. I haven't wrote a name down on a model in a long time, since last year. That was mainly due to the fact that, if I'm gonna have like crash scenes or like scenes where an engine is like toppled over, once again using Aries as a reference, then I didn't want that to be shown. But this is a special model. I didn't really care. There is one detail I'm missing, however, and that is the little box thing underneath the cab here. I will add that after my short film is done for a, proper thank you to everybody. But yeah. I guess there's nothing really left to say more about the showcase, so yeah, thank you all for watching. And I just want to thank you for, the support y'all have given me. Excuse me. I just want to thank you all for the support y'all have been giving me lately. Not toward, I mean, there has been some sincerity with the whole Ozzie passing thing, but just any support y'all have given me, I really, really appreciate it. And I can't wait to show you guys what I've been cooking up with the short film. Though it is coming in May. And then after that, obviously my series will be a thing. But yeah, until then, thank you all for watching, and have a good day.